Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. I hope you guys are having a great day today. First of all, guys, I'm going to have to congratulate you because if you're watching this video, then you have completed step 1. Basically, you've got a good idea on how to do your blood glucose levels and your ketone levels. You know how to monitor them. Basically, you also know what good fat meals you are able to eat and what is comfortable for you, and how it's able to actually help with your monitoring your blood glucose and ketone levels, which is getting you into more fat adaptation, which means that in step 1, you guys actually were starting to teach your body how to burn fat as its primary fuel. Now the thing is that you were burning fat from the foods you were eating, and that's exactly how you need to start first. Because remember in step 1 how I explained that your body is not used to burning fat, so we have to step into that slowly. So now that you've got a good idea and you've completed step 1, you're now ready to go to step 2. So let's go ahead and briefly review that together, and I'll go through step 2 with you, okay? So first of all, like I said, congratulations, you're now going to step 2. You're going to be introduced to a very, very powerful protocol. It's known as alternate day fasting. This is where you guys are going to actually dip into your own stored body fat as fuel. So which means that during your fasting windows, and don't be afraid of this word because your body is already designed to actually burn fat in the first place. So you've gone through step 1, you've taught it how to burn fat. So now when you don't bring any calories in for a certain period of time, your body has taught itself or learned that dipping into your own stored fat, you're going to actually pull energy from there, which makes more sense if you're looking to lose inches, right? And so in step 2, we're going to introduce you to alternate day fasting, but you're going to start in certain steps, okay? So we reviewed that you've learned how to do your monitoring. We reviewed that you have learned about different fat meals and so forth. Step 2, we're also going to we're going to increase your fat intake per meal. Step 1, we kept you at around 50% protein, 40 to 45% fat, because your body really wasn't used to burning or metabolize fat yet. Step 2, we're going to bump the fat up now, and we're going to go to 65 to 70% good dietary fat. You're going to be doing about 35 to 40% protein. Now we're going to cut back a little bit more on our carbs. So you're going to be doing a 5% carbs, but your carbs are still going to all come from vegetables. Okay, so that's where we're going to start here. Now, at this point, you've also learned how to hydrate yourself. How important, and I keep talking about it over and over again, how important hydration is when you're trying to lose weight. And so we want to keep that schedule going. So keep your hydration schedule working, especially in the morning. Now this is where it's really important, guys, because actually, hopefully you've acquired a taste for the apple cider vinegar by now, because it plays a huge part in fat burning. So hopefully you've done that. And so I will talk about this throughout this little short review on how to do step 2, but I'm always going back on how important it is to be able to hydrate first thing in the morning with your water, apple cider vinegar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt for your electrolytes, because as you fast, your body is going to be flushing out more water out of your kidneys, and also that goes with that water is minerals. So you got to keep on top of your pink sea salt to keep the electrolytes and minerals in your body. All right. We're also going to talk. You're going to go through what we call a true fast. What it means by a true fast is 0 calories during your fasting window. None. That means you can only have your water, and you can only have black coffee or green tea. Do not put any creamers in it. No flavoring, no nothing. We want to put you in a true fast here. Okay, so a true fast means 0 calories. Okay, now, so what we're going to do, here, let me try to get this going here. Alright, so we're going to introduce you to, you're going to do 3 types of fastings here. You're going to do a 16-8 is what you're going to start with, and then you're going to bump it up to a 18-6, which means 18 hours of fasting and 6 hours of windows to eat. And then you're going to bump it up from there at 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of an eating window. But we're going to go up in small steps. So that's why we're starting out at 16-8, which means you're going to fast for 16 hours. Hopefully, you pick your fasting times while you're asleep. But for 16 hours, you're going to basically fast, and then you have an 8-hour window to eat whatever good dietary fats you'd like to eat. Okay, and the plan will explain all that. You don't need to rush into doing the 18 hours. What you want to do, you guys, is you want to be able to get your body adapted more into what fasting is and teach it to actually dip into its own body fat, your own stored body fat, and use that as energy to operate throughout the day. And it just takes a little time for the body to acclimate to that. But when it does, this is what makes intermittent or alternate day fasting so powerful. That, just think, so you're fasting for 16 hours and you're not eating any calories at all. That's no carbs, no sugars, no nothing. Okay, you're eventually going to run out of glucose or sugar to be used as energy, which your body was doing in the past. And it's going to panic because it needs energy in order to do what? Operate. So, but then it's trained now that, hey, wait a minute, I got all kinds of great energy sitting in those fat cells, so I'm going to jump into that. So at around 10 or 11 hours, your body's going to jump into your own stored fat and use that as energy, which you want to do anyway. But just think, when you're ready and those you're not having much of a hunger wave. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are saying they're just not hungry. They can go longer than 16 hours, but we don't want you to do that at first. But then all of a sudden you say, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level, which is 18-6. So you were doing a 16-8. Now you're going to jump to an 18-6, which means you're going to burn fat for 2 extra hours. Think about what I just said. You're going to burn fat for an extra 2 hours. That's huge. Do you think maybe you might be seeing some inches start going away in your hip area, or your clothes are going to start to change? Absolutely. Then, when you're ready to go to the next level, which is the 20-hour fast and the 8-hour window, and I'm going to explain to you the non-fasting days and fasting days in a second. But anyway, that 20 hour, that extra 2 hours, so you were doing a 16-8, now you're going 4 more hours without eating any calories. How powerful is that to dipping into your own fat cells to burn? Pretty powerful. But what's really cool is you're more fat adapted, and your body is not going to panic because it knows when the glucose from the food you eat is no longer there, it's going to go right into your stored body fat. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's go to, okay, so you guys heard me talk about adding more fat to your meals. So what this means is, if you're looking at, you're watching the video here, obviously, but if you're looking at the plan, I got a picture of different types of fats that you guys can use to add to your meals. So I want to make it easy for you and put the pictures there. You can also go back to my cookbook and look at some examples there too. But what I've done here is I put a list of different fats you can actually add to each meal. For example, olive oil. We like to use a good source of olive oil. We add it to our salad. Sometimes we just take a tablespoon just before we eat it. We eat a meal. You can add some macadamia nuts or almonds to your meals. Real butter, cook with real butter. Those of you that like, you can even put some real butter on top of a piece, a tablespoon of real butter on top of a piece of steak. Cream cheese, I like to make a cream cheese spinach. I also like to make a garlic and butter spinach, good fat. Cook your meat in coconut oil because the coconut oil can handle the higher heat. I add coconut cream to my fat coffees on my non-fasting days. If I'm going to have a snack, I'll add, so forth. MCT oil, those of you that are using MCT oil, go ahead and put that on your vegetables or your whatever in your protein smoothies. Put some real butter on your vegetables if you like. So that kind of gives you an idea of what extra fats I'm talking about. Now, remember, you got to remember that your mindset for years have been told by the Food Administration that fat's going to cause you to gain fat. Well, good dietary fat, it's the opposite. Good dietary fat will actually help you burn fat. Remember that. Okay. Now we're going to go to the. You guys are accustomed of doing your glucose blood readings and your blood ketone readings. And some of you have been using strips. Well, in step 2, I recommend that you guys go to, and I actually put in step 1, I put the link to order a blood glucose or blood ketone meter. You're ready to actually do that. So you're ready to do your blood glucose meter, and you're ready to do a blood glucose ketone because that's your GKI. You're still going to monitor your fat burning, but your times are going to change. So, for example, if you're doing my online coaching, I need you to do a reading of both your blood glucose and your blood ketone readings, 3 readings per week. I want you to do those readings on your fasting days only, just before you break your fast, your first meal. So if you're doing a 16-8 and say your fasting ends at 10 a.m., I want you to do a reading just before you break your fast, before you break it. Now, if you're doing an 18-6, obviously you're going to be doing your reading just before 18 hours. Same with 20 hours, just before 20 hours. Text that to me. Those of you that are doing the online courses where you don't have me as a coach, document that, okay? So, now, let's introduce to you how alternate day fasting works. So, you will pick 3 days during the week that best fits your lifestyle for fasting. The other 3 days are known as non-fasting days. So, on the non-fasting days, you can continue to do what you did in step 1, okay? Non-fasting means that's a higher calorie day. You're going to definitely have 3 meals that day, because if you're doing the 18-6, you're going to probably have 2 meals and a snack. If you're doing the 20 and a 4, you're probably going to, like I said, 2 meals and a snack. But on your non-fasting days, I want you to do higher calories. Okay, so you're going to add more food on your non-fasting days. Now, those of you that are breakfast eaters and you like to eat breakfast at 7, 8, or 9, continue with that's fine. Some of my clients are actually on their non-fasting days. They'll have their first meal at 10 o'clock, which gives them a non-fasting day of fasting actually for 16 hours. Then they have a meal at 10, they have a meal at 1 or 2, and they have a meal at 6 or 7, and they'll have a snack. So that's how you want to set it up. Now, I'm going to give you an example on how Emily and I do our alternate day fasting. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we love it, and it's so flexible and so easy, and it seems like most people can handle this. Like I said before in the past, remember, your body is designed to fast in the first place. So once you get it taught, once you acclimate it to fat burning, then it's going to want to stay there, and it's not that hard to follow. You won't have the cravings you used to have. You won't be craving sugars or carbohydrates because, of course, you've balanced your hormones that are causing those issues. But for example, this is what Emily and I do. Our non-fasting days are Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Sunday is a day that we just do whatever. You know, sometimes we'll go to breakfast at 11 o'clock with friends after church, and I'll have dinner at night at 6. Sometimes I don't want dinner at night at 6. It depends on how much I eat for breakfast, or if I'm not hungry at 5 or 6, I'm not going to force myself to eat. Because Monday is my non-fasting day, so I'm eating more calories that day, okay? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are my fasting days. Now, we do a 23-1 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we do a 20-hour fast Saturdays. What 23-hour one means is that at the 23-hour mark, I break my fast with something very easy on my gut. Normally, we make our own homemade kefir, 1 cup of that, and I'll put a veggie protein powder in it with 1 tablespoon of chia seed. That's how I break my fast to get my gut ready an hour later for my main fat meal. Okay? So I just gave you a great example on how to break a fast. When you're fasting 18 and 20 hours and 23 hours, you have not had any calories for all those hours. So how do you think your gut would feel if you jumped right into a high carb meals or processed high carb foods like In-N-Out or Burger King or something like that? Or how about high carbs period, pastas and things? Or what about sweets? Your gut isn't going to handle that very well at all. So we got to prime it. We got to get those digestive acids going first. And so by breaking your fast with something very lean, like our veggie protein drink or a kefir drink or whatever, I'll give you some examples, then we're priming the gut to get ready for food, and it isn't such a shock. Okay? And I'll explain to you also about why you don't want to eat a high carb meal to break your fast with, because of your sensitivity to carbs. Okay? So my fasting days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, on my fasting days, if I were to get say before my first meal, if I get some kind of a hunger wave, what am I going to do? You guys have heard me talk about this before. How do you eliminate a hunger wave? Very simple. Big glass of water, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, drink it down. Within a few minutes, that hunger wave is gone. Most of the time, if you're not drinking enough water, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. But if you've been drinking enough water, the sea salt's going to help to, because imbalance electrolytes causes cravings sometimes. Okay. Now, a couple times a day. Now, I always do my apple cider vinegar in the morning, and I also do it at night, every night, because apple cider vinegar helps my metabolism to metabolize fat and burn fat. So while I'm sleeping between the sheets, I'm burning fat. That's why I do the apple cider vinegar. It's also a good gut health. But anyway, on my long fasting days, the days I do my 23-hour fast, I will have some more apple cider vinegar around noon to be able to not get a hunger wave. I don't get hunger waves anymore. 23-hour fasts or no, I mean, I can even go longer now. I don't want to because I'm exercising, doing interval strength training, and I want to build lean muscle. But I could go past that very easy now. I'm pretty well adapted. Both of us are. But if I have my apple cider vinegar at noon or before I go to the gym, then I don't get those hunger waves at all. Period. So there's a tip for you guys. Okay. So let's see here. What's the next one here? Okay. So on page what page are we on? On page 5. You have a picture there of a 16-hour fasted with an 8-hour feed. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you're going to start out with. And so we've explained to you what your fasting times are. So if it's possible, try to have your last meal at 6 or 7. And then the next day, if you can do it, if your lifestyle lets you do this, have your first meal at 10. That's your 16 to 8. And most of your fasting time is going to be while you're asleep. Now, a key tip here. Do not drink any fluids with your meals at all, period. No water, no juices, no coffee, no nothing, okay, while you're eating. There's a reason for that. A lot of you who are drinkers while you eat are diluting the hydrochloric acid, that is your digestive acids, that help you burn the food you're eating. So your food has to go through a process before it even goes into the small intestine. And it has to be liquefied. If you're drinking fluids, you're not completely digesting the foods, and that could cause a lot of issues over long periods of time when it has to do with your colon or your small intestine. And plus, you're not utilizing all the nutrients in the foods you're eating if you're not letting it digest completely down into a liquid form. So suggestion is to have your sea salt and water an hour before you have a meal. That's going to help to fill you up so you won't eat as much, and wait about a half hour, 45 minutes after you eat to have your water again. Okay, so that's your tip there. Let's see, let's go down here. Okay, on page 5, it talks about the benefits of apple cider vinegar as far as depressing the hormone that's causing you to have cravings, carb cravings or sugar cravings, and also it helps with many other health benefits caused by that. Let's go to page 6, helpful hints. So on page 6 here, I've got a picture of salmon with a cream sauce on top. Remember what I said? Be creative. Remember, fat is your friend. You know, I do want you to keep your diet, your dairy down, but cream cheese is okay in small forms because you're not going to use a lot of it. So put I've added fat to my salmon by using a cream sauce. So go through my cookbook and you'll see some examples of it. Also on page 6, I'm introducing some supplements. It's time to add some supplements. Now, I'm not a supplement guy. I don't spend a lot of money on it, but there's certain supplements I do suggest. A good source of omega-3, which is fish oil. We use a gel tab. I got a picture of that in page 6. Really important here, a digestive enzyme supplement. This is mainly for those, Emily and I make our own homemade kefir, and we also drink our own homemade kombucha. Both of these have massive amounts of live digestive enzymes, fresh. So we're consuming very fresh digestive enzymes and massive amounts to help us digest our food. Those of you that aren't making your own, if you go to my cookbook, and you can see a video that my wife did on how to make your own. That's the best way to do it. But go to on page 6, it shows you a bottle of a digestive enzyme, which is I think it's a gel. And I recommend this brand. It's from Shan Stratton, one of the top professional nutritionists who helps with a lot of professional teams and athletes. It's corehealth.com. Order that one and start taking that. Okay, I also recommend a good source of liquid magnesium, and of course, and then zinc. Okay, so I do recommend that. Now, on page 6, I talk about your last meal. Make your last meal portion moderate. Don't overeat. Only eat to where you're satisfied. If you're having some kind of lean meat or a steak or ribs or something, keep it to, for a man, 6 to 8 ounces. For a woman, she can have 4 to 6 ounces, depending on if you're exercising. If you're exercising and you're doing strength training, you might want a little bit more, okay? Now on page 6, okay, one other thing. Limit the dairy. Try to not have as much dairy during the day. Now, every once in a while, I'll do a heavy cream in my coffee on my non-fasting day, or I'll go to a coffee shop on my non-fasting day for a snack and have a heavy cream latte, but I don't do it every day. Okay? All right. Okay, again, I'm reminding you here, because this is how important it is. I'm reminding you, if you get a hunger wave during your fasting window, have your big glass of water. I'm reminding you that. Remember what I said. These hunger waves can be brought on by dehydration and not drinking enough water. All right, let's go to page, what page are we on? Page 7. Oh, you guys might like this one. Okay, so now, on your non-fasting days, for those of you that may want a nightcap, something that's kind of chocolatey, go to my cookbook, look at my fat hot chocolate. You can have that as a nightcap. Have it about an hour or two before you go to bed if you like. Also in my cookbook, I've got different fat bombs, we call them, or what they are sweet desserts. On page 7, I have a picture of my favorite one, which is a chocolate peanut butter crunch, dark chocolate peanut butter crunch. I use 95% cacao is what I use. It's a bar form, and my cookbook explains the recipe and how to make that. So those of you that on your non-fasting days, if you feel like a snack of something sweet, and you make these bars, or you actually can put them in a small cupcake papers and make, like little small peanut butter cups things. You only need one because they're very high fat, but they taste great, and they're going to actually depress your cravings for sugar, and they're a great snack for kids because they're healthy. It's high fat. Okay, so that's on page 7. Let's go to page 8. Okay, now, very important here. Remember I told you just a little while ago about how to break your fast? Well, on page 8, it explains here, and there's a picture on page 8. It says how to break a fast properly. This is very critical and very important. So, when you're breaking a fast, do not, it says it on page, is it page 8, I hope? Yes, page 8. Do not ever break an 18, 20, or 23-hour fast with a high-carb processed meal. That means your fast foods. Anything that's high carb, do not break it with that because your gut is not ready for it. Do not break it with a high fat, period. So, for example, we do, Emily and I will do a tablespoon of olive oil. We'll down it just before we have a meal. Well, if you're breaking your fast, do not do that at all, period. So, what are you going to break your fast with? Sugar. Do not have any kind of sugar. No sugary drinks. No sugars when you're just starting to break your fast. So let's give an example on page 8. I have examples of how to break your fast, what to break your fast with. The number one, the best way to do it is with either chicken, organic chicken, or beef bone broth, 8 to 10 ounces. That's the absolute perfect way. What that means is, so if you're doing a 20-hour fast, then at the 20-hour mark, break your fast with a cup of 8 to 10 ounces of chicken or bone broth. Drink that first, and then wait about 45 minutes to an hour to have your main fat meal. You can also break your fast. Now, we do a veggie protein powder. That's all we do. We don't do any whey protein because whey protein has a very dangerous ingredient in it, and that's caused by the way they process it. It's called A1 casein. That's dangerous to the body, causes major inflammation. So I recommend nobody to do whey proteins. Go to a good source of veggie protein powder. We break our fast with our kefir. So we'll do 8 ounces of our homemade kefir, 1 scoop of the veggie protein powder. I'll put a scoop of the collagen, Dr. Axe collagen in it, and 1 tablespoon of chia seed in it. And that's very easy on my gut. And I'm actually adding, by doing the homemade kefir, I'm adding some digestive enzymes, getting my gut ready to digest food, but I'm adding some more digestive enzymes in there and good probiotics, besides all the B vitamins I'm getting too. And so that's very easy on the gut and primes my gut to get ready for my main meal an hour later. I carry around grass-fed turkey sticks in my backpack, so if I'm out and about, and I need to break my fast, I'll do 2 of the turkey sticks. That's about 18 grams of protein, but it's very lean. It's just like I said here on page 6. You want to break your fast. If you're going to break your fast with meat, make sure it's lean chicken or some kind of lean fish, okay? All right, let's go to page 9. Page 9. Okay, page 9, guys. Remember I told you that my clients are going to get a bonus secret that Emily and I found? Well, here it is. You really want to accelerate your fat burning on step 2. And those of you that are exercising and those of you that are not exercising, you might want to start exercising. Don't go crazy though. If you go crazy, it causes issues. But this is the secret. We found a way to accelerate fat burning for an extra 2 hours on our fasting days. On our fasting days, what we do is, I'll give you an example. We're doing a 23-1. Okay, so I'm going to break my fast around 5 o'clock. And I'm going to eat my last meal about 6. At 2 o'clock, I'll go to the gym and I'll do my interval strength training, but I always follow it by doing my interval 20-minute cardio. Okay? It seems to only work if you end up doing cardio. So you could go to the gym 2 hours before you break your fast and just do cardio if you want. We do both. But you can do it. It's the cardio is the key to burning up that extra sugar that's floating around in your blood and the extra glycogen that's being stored in the muscle. That's going to help for 2 extra hours. What happens is when you burn those up within that 20 minutes or so, your body's going to jump into deeper fat burning. Okay? That's the key. It works. I have lost more fat inches around my waist. And I actually lost weight, but I have not jeopardized my strength one bit. Okay, on page 9, I also have a picture there of fats and how much fat you're burning at certain pounds. So it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, and 20 pounds. This gives you an illustration or a good idea of if you lose 5 pounds of fat, I'm not talking about water, talking about fat, there's a picture of there how much fat that looks like. It's pretty, the illustration's pretty dang cool. All right, let's go to page, wow, that's it. So, let's see here. I think that covers everything, guys, pretty much. Let me see if I forgot anything. I told you about the secret. Your body is now burning its primary, okay, we told you about your burning fat now. Let's review this real quick, how to break a fast. We talked about that, right? You know about that. Oh, I know what I did tell you. Almost forgot. This is really cool. This is what makes this program so successful, is it takes away your stress as far as when going to a family event or any event. Doesn't matter, a family event or any event. When you're doing alternate day fasting, you have got the ability to go to a family event or any event and enjoy the food that they're serving, which means you never ever have to